This morning I'm doing a little shipping and I'm going to show you what's sold and tell you where I found it, how much I paid for it. And this basket is what I leave down in our basement storage area. I try and keep things tucked away, not have it take over our house. Sometimes it's easier said than done. But I use that basket to gather up what has sold, bring it upstairs to my office, and sit on my floor and do all of my shipping. Let me show you what's sold. We're all set and ready to ship out this morning. I've mentioned this many times before, but I sit on my floor of my office. I think it's good for me to get up and down off the floor. So most people have shipping stations. I just use my floor. So all of my shipping supplies I keep at close at hand. And let's talk about some of the items that I'm sending out today. The first one is this little pocket-sized religious book. I just picked this up very recently at a church rummage sale, fill-a-bag sale. So take a look at those. I've sold quite a few of them from the miscellaneous church sales that I went to over the summer and this fall. And this one is going out. And just this book alone will pay for the entire cost of the day that I was there. So fill-a-bag sales normally are $1 up to $5. So this one book pays for everything. Next item are these two bras, and they're not even the same brand, but they are the same size. So be sure and mention that. I'll put a screenshot up of what I said in the description, but when I find the same size bras, I do lot them or put them together and sell them as a set. That I think people would rather spend a little bit more to get two if you need a certain size. And you would be surprised how many bras I sell. So this black and white one are not even the same brand, but are the same size. Next up, this hat, Playboy hat. I stuff it with tissue paper. I've mentioned this before. My husband works 1 or 2 mornings a week at our friend's clothing store and brings me home bags and bags. He unpackages the items and helps get ready for hanging them up and helps getting them ready for display, and brings me home bags of this tissue paper. Right now, around the holidays at Costco, you can find tissue paper at a really great price. So I try and stuff all of the hats with tissue before I put them in a poly mailer to go out. I think presentation is everything. Take a few extra minutes, take a little time, and make sure that you package up your items before they package them up properly before they go out for shipping. And every time I ship, I use these bread bags from Walmart. They are the perfect size and the perfect price. So almost every item today is going out in one of these Walmart bread bags. This Hell Bunny dress, I didn't know the brand. In fact, the tag was gone from the brand, from the dress, and I picked it up solely on the pattern. And how I found it is I did a reverse image search using Google Lens using the size tag. And by the size tag, it led me to the brand. And this one had a lot of interest. And this one is also going out today. So I just gravitate towards unique colors when I'm digging through. This one came from the Goodwill outlet. When I'm digging through those bins, just the pattern and the colors caught my eye. This one was not for sale for very long. Christmas item, these stockings, I've had them for over a year, but I marketed them Victorian, the set of 4, even though one is a different color. I thought that someone would want this, very lightweight. Again, the Goodwill bins for Christmas stockings going out today. This one I just picked up and talked about it in a prior video. I thought, well, who would want this when I first saw it? This one came from a church fill-a-bag sale. Who would want this? And in a very short time, somebody wanted these. So you never know. I go for the unique, the vintage, the things that are left behind on the last day of the fill-a-bag church rummage sale. I find some things, treasures that nobody else wants. And this one is going international shipping, which this one's going to Canada, but they do have to pay a lot more to get it there. I don't pay, buyer pays the overseas taxation. And this one sold really very quickly. Again, that tissue paper, I stuff the shoes with it. I think it's nice to have presentation. It's nice to get an item that you know somebody cared for. This sweater has been for sale for quite a long time, but when you start reselling, be sure and tell people what you do. This is from a neighbor, and her mom had passed, and there were some items that she thought she just felt badly donating, sending to the Goodwill. And I got a text and she said, "Do you want the bag? Do you want to look through what there is and see what you can find to sell?" And she just donated it to me. I had a coworker do the same thing when I worked. She was heading to the Goodwill and said, "It's in my car. Do you want it?" And yeah, so you can get free inventory. People know what you do. And again, I took what I wanted out of that bag from the coworker. She must have done it 3 times and then donated, told her I would donate the rest for her. So there was no cost in this one and ended up selling. This was the last item, ended up selling all of her mom's treasures. So I know she feels good about that. My husband Brian, he wants to do a video himself on the golf things that he has found at the church rummage sales. He does not go to the bins with me. That's not his cup of tea. It's not really even my cup of tea, but he loves the church rummage sales. He finds things for himself. He loves golf things. And these shoes we found over the summer, and again with the tissue paper, and this sold very quickly. So it's becoming, you know, the colder months, but not all over the United States. So even though it's becoming winter in Minnesota, these are going out today. And I want to mention I sold 2 items because of another reseller. This one and this blanket that I'll talk about. But her name is Stephanie Fusen, and I started following her early on, and she talks about she loves plush. I call these loveys, and she talks about and taught me about silk lined, satin lined vintage blankets. And so I'm going to link her Instagram account and her YouTube in my description. I have sold a lot of loveys, and she has sold a lot of loveys for a really good price. And when you need one, that your child has a lovey and it's no longer, it can be found, parents need that lovey. And I had a mom about a year ago send me an offer, and I accepted it. I often will just accept offers, whatever the price on loveys, because of that fact. But she thanked me afterwards and sent me a note and said, "My son is autistic. I am so grateful to have found this on your site. And thank you so much for accepting my offer." So I would never have thought of this. And Stephanie does a really great job teaching all of us things that you wouldn't maybe look for. So this cute little lovey is going out today. These 3 were Poshmark sales. This was, I just bought this at the Goodwill outlet, the bins. I also found this at the bins. That was just pennies. I found this, a bag of doll clothing. I talked about it in one of my last videos. I emptied out the bag, searched for just what I considered the Barbie clothes. Some of them were vintage 90s, some of them were handmade, and that one sold rather quickly on Poshmark. And my cost of goods for this would have been about $1. In Poshmark, this one also was a sale on Poshmark. You can use any box, any bag, any bubble mailer. I order all of my Poshmark shipping supplies from USPS, delivered right to my home, and the buyer pays $7.97 flat rate, is big, small, whatever. Poshmark is much easier to do shipping on. So if you're new to reselling, you might want to start there. eBay is king. eBay is where all of my sales happen, but Poshmark for shipping, you might want to start there. This was a church fill-a-bag sale, and this would have been no more than a dime or a quarter. This one sold on Poshmark. That one's going out today. And the last one is that the seller, Stephanie, who has taught me so much and is so kind to give out so much information. But I remember watching one of her videos, and she talked about satin edge blankets, any brand, any kind, any size. I took a trip to Canada over the summer and went into a thrift store and found a yellow satin edged one that had barely been used. I think that one went for like $150. So I like the smaller ones just for the storage, but I have purchased the queen size ones. And she's right. Any size, any color, clean, sell really well. And this one was only listed just a few days and sold on Poshmark. And my shipping supplies with that hat, that Playboy hat that sold, I always run a brush over it just to make sure that it's clean. The tissue paper came from my husband for free. These stickers that I have talked about that I like to color coordinate, it just makes me, I don't know, I like to color coordinate these little stickers for my packages going out. These came from Amazon. These 12 by 18 poly bags are what I bought on Amazon as well, that hold the little bit larger items. I also use clear colored garbage bags to ship out my items that I need a little bit bigger size for. And my shipping packing paper comes from Lowe's. And these two items needed a little bit more TLC before I ship them out. This was this little prayer book Bible. I keep extra cardboard that from packing, or extra boxes that I wasn't able to use or needed to cut down, or they weren't the right size. Don't do this with USPS. Make sure it's just the plain cardboard. You can only use USPS, United States Postal Service, boxes and bags for that purpose. Don't repurpose them for something else. So I always just take a little bit of cardboard and put it on either side of any sort of book or pamphlet or something paper that I'm mailing out to help protect it. Absolutely love this electric scissor. I use it almost every single time I ship. And the little candle holder, the Lennox candle holder, my method for doing breakables is I will roll it 3 ways one way and tuck in those ends. And then I take another piece of bubble wrap and I will turn it and then roll it 3 rolls the next way, and with this small size bubble wrap, and it will go in this box with that Lowe's packing paper. I get a lot of boxes from my neighbors and my friends who save them for me. And so I store them. They're a little harder to store. USPS comes to you flat, but I store all of my boxes in a spare bedroom closet.